transfers and contracts, it's probably right to start at the exit door, potential outgoings, because Harvey Elliot's comments, which you alluded to yesterday, were quite illuminating, maybe, the way he said it. So for those that have missed it, as it says on the screen there, he was asked about his future. He said, "It's about what's best for my career. It's about reflecting and seeing what I can do. I'm here at the moment and I'm focusing on the final game." That wasn't quite the interview from 3 weeks ago of "I'm going to fight for my place." Is there a sense of resignation a little bit in these comments?
Just has the feel, doesn't it, of kind of conversations behind the scene and kind of realization of what's really going to happen there and whether the opportunities are going to open up for them at all. It's very, very hard to see things getting better for him, isn't it? Unfortunately, in terms of playing time, and obviously if that's the case, he like he says, he's got to make the best decision for his career, which is possibly to go elsewhere and give up on the Liverpool thing and make a name for himself elsewhere, because he's good enough to do it as well. This is the thing, I said, I'm so big on him as a player, and I just really hope something can kind of, if he does have to leave this summer, that he gets a decent move, because he does absolutely deserve it. And it's just a shame it's working out this way, but it doesn't. I just can't see how Slot changes his mind on the player from here, really, and it works itself out. So it does look much more likely now that he is going to depart at the end of the season. Hopefully we get a chance to speak to him in the mix zone on Sunday and get a bit more clarity on what's happening in his future. But with so much interest in him and his place in the squad being so uncertain, it just wouldn't be a shock now, would it, that if he were to leave this summer, which is, as I say, a bit sad, really.
Yeah, it'll be one we're watching for on last day reactions to see how he is. And another player that I don't want to be too harsh on him, actually, so I won't go too much into it, but it's right to ask you. Jarell Quansah always just seems at the scene of the crime. Maybe, they always say, if you don't be good, be lucky. And it doesn't really seem to be either this season for Jarell Quansah. And, he plays the attacker on side last night. Is he another one a lot of people are mentioning today you think could be a live departure potentially?
Yeah, definitely. It's a possibility, you would say, because, again, he's another one who's got big interest in him from decent-sized clubs. And one thing as well that would drive it more than the Harvey Elliott thing is I think Quansah is more minded to go and play more frequently, a bit more kind of determined around that than Harvey, who I think would probably do another year, really, and would stay a little longer if he had the opportunity. I don't think that, I think Jarell Quansah, if he got a decent move, would be keen on taking it. So, that's an aspect that makes it interesting. I do think, and I say this a lot, but I do think Liverpool will want to manage turnover a little bit. You don't suddenly want to be signing kind of 2 centre halves and 2 midfielders and 3 forwards and all, because you have to, and you force yourself into that situation. So there could be a situation where a few of these who you think are candidates for going don't go in the end, just so they, don't give themselves too much to do. And maybe Quansah does one more year against his will, and maybe Harvey Elliott even somehow snatches another year out of it. We will have to kind of see. It's very hard to judge how the market will go. But they are definitely 2. Quansah you put in there 100% as someone who's big doubts over his future at Liverpool going into this summer, which, again, you think back to 12 months ago, I mean, that kind of feels mad to say it, but it's definitely the case, yeah.
Crazy. There's just so many that have got uncertain futures. But the main excitement for people is naturally what's coming the other way. And the one we're waiting for, Jeremy Frimpong, this does feel like we're almost waiting for the announcement more than anything at the moment. And it's been a lively week for yourself around this one as well, hasn't it? It's fair to say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's worth talking about this because it's absolutely insane, really. I mean, as a starting point, I want to say I don't actually think what went on social media was an accurate reflection of what I was saying. If I'd have ruled him out completely, then fair enough, but I didn't. I know in our conversation I said that the move is there for Liverpool if they want it. I just personally don't think they will maybe go down that route, and I want to, let's be fair, I got that wrong, that aspect of it, giving my opinion there. I got that opinion wrong because clearly it was much further up the list than I thought with the that Liverpool had him, so I misjudged that. What I would say is I don't think I've misjudged many in my career, and so I don't think I'm necessarily deserved the stick for it. But, you know, to give you kind of an insight into how these things work is that obviously as journalists, we are close to the club. We get to go to the games. We get to be at the training ground. We know people in and around the club. We're very fortunate to do that. But we're never in the room with Richard Hughes. We're never in the room with the players in the dressing room. We're never there when the manager says this, that, or the other. So you are always reliant on secondhand information. Now, what part of the job is kind of gathering that secondhand information and trying to work out who's telling the truth and where the truth kind of lies in the situation. So is the agent bigging this up to me because he wants to get his client linked to Liverpool and he wants to make a bigger thing of it than it is? Are the club lying to me because they want to keep it under wraps? These are the kind of judgment calls you have to make. So you're never going to be, no matter how nailed on your sources are, you're never going to be certain because, like I said, you're not in the room with them. And as good as your sources are, who you know, they may never let you down, something might go wrong in that process. So around this transfer in particular was kind of an element of a lot of talk coming from the players' side and not a lot coming from the club side, and maybe a bit of playing down. And to the degree that it was to such the extent that I've seen this so many times and been told I've been wrong about it, that there's not really, you know, he's maybe been on the list, but it's not been a massive target. And so I just kind of shared that opinion because I felt that reflected on what I've learned, my experiences, what I've seen in the past. And even then, in saying that, as I say, I said, but I still think the move's there for Liverpool. They have watched him. He's homegrown. He's versatile. He's quirky. You know, so much to like about, and he's cheap. And so there's so much to like about the move. So I wouldn't rule it out. But it obviously got taken out of there, turned into whatever, and turned into some of the most grim abuse that I've seen really in my time. I mean, I would say a lot of people message me really nice things. So thank you so much to the people who did that. It's really, really kind. And I really, really needed that in that time. But social media was a bit of a hellhole for me for over the weekend, really. And one thing I would say about that as a final point on it, really, is that, like, I think people think when you get a few thousand followers on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, that, like, all of a sudden you've got this bulletproof ego and you can't be hurt. And it's like, if you get hundreds of strangers saying horrible things to you online, it makes you feel horrible. I am just a normal fella. I don't have this bulletproof ego. When people say nasty things to me, it really hurts my feelings, like, because it would to anyone, really. So, I didn't love that at all. And like, it's one part of the job I just don't enjoy at all. And it makes you so reluctant as well then to, like, I got the story yesterday about Trent being in the squad, and I'm like, again, I know that source is never wrong, and I know they would never let me down. They'd never intentionally mislead me. And I knew that story was absolutely right. And I'm panicking putting the story out because I'm like, my confidence is shot. And it's like, you want to kind of ask people, you know, do you want me to give my honest take on things and my experience and things and what I know? And maybe, you know, in podcasting, a relaxed environment, maybe share stuff that's not absolutely 100% nailed on that I maybe wouldn't write, but it's in a conversational environment and therefore I feel safe to do it. And I did it, and I just, like, there was no upside to it. It was just getting hammered. So, you know, it was just awful, basically. And I just, don't want that to happen again, really. But like I said, I don't want to focus on it too much. I know there's always mean people online, but there's some really, I got some really nice messages in there as well. So thank you to everyone who did that. But the other people, just leave me alone for a bit now. That'd be great.
Well, there's just a whole summer to go, all the way through to August, of the different rumours. And the next name on the docket, this, I may be wrong on this, but this feels red hot. It feels like this week it's almost accelerated, Milos Kerkez. And I think Bournemouth can still, by some weird and wacky way, I don't know if it is that's still the case, get Europe. But it almost feels like they play City tonight. Maybe if that doesn't go the way, this could accelerate. But this does feel another red hot name at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've said for a while he's definitely on the list. It's just a case of if he's the one at the end I'm going for. I mean, I don't have any personal information on kind of club to club talks now, or, you know, that kind of ongoing. But obviously that's the rumor that's doing the rounds at the minute. So maybe they are moving forward with that one. And yeah, lots to like about the player. There's a reason Liverpool like him. Only small question mark is kind of attacking output, but I mean, they obviously think he can make that leap, and they're so good at judging whether they're able to do that. Players, Liverpool recruitment staff seems to be able to kind of predict the future at times, really, with this sort of stuff. So, if they like him, I think it's good enough to think that he's good. He's going to be good enough in that aspect, and I think all the other elements of his game, so pacey, really good in duels, and just up and down constantly, like full of energy, and he's young and will get even better. So I think a potentially really exciting signing. I know kind of question marks over the fee, but if it nails down that position for a certain number of years, then it's worth it. And also, Liverpool have made so many savings in other positions in recent years, so many bargains, that if you have to go over the top a little bit for one that is going to solve a problem for you in the long term, then hey, why not go for it?
Yeah, I suppose if he signs and Frimpong signs, people have looked at this and thought there's pace and a half on the flanks, but who's doing the defending? But it does feel like it, and we're expecting both to arrive by the sounds of it. Doesn't half make it exciting from fullback, does it?
Yeah, it's a lot of pace, isn't it? Yeah. So again, clearly that's kind of an idea they have about how you move this team forward is to get more pace in the team. I think it's something we kind of have felt, everyone who's watched Liverpool this season really is this team could probably do with a little injection of pace. So those two would certainly bring it. Whether they'll get used in the same team or not at times, we'll kind of have to see, and what that rotation at right back looks like. But it's it pace really. Speed does kill, doesn't it? So that's going to be really exciting. And you combine the idea of those two, if it does end up being Kerkez, then with what else is possibly to come, it's really, really exciting. And they're building from a very strong base as well, which is obviously a team that was good enough to win the league this season.
I mean, it's crazy we're talking about two exciting, pacey fullbacks arriving at Anfield. And it ain't even the biggest story, is it? It isn't even the one that people are watching with intent at the moment. We're going to talk about Florian Verts and potential that Manchester City have now dropped out the race. So it does feel like Liverpool and unfortunately Bayern Munich, who are the rumoured favourites for this as well. But it is important to say this isn't some smokescreen, PR, all the normal things we've seen on social media. Liverpool are right in for Florian Verts, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. That's my understanding. Is as I understand it, within the last couple of days or so, it was said to me that look, they still feel on the Liverpool side that Bayern are favourites, and Leverkusen, he may even do another year at Leverkusen, so they kind of expect him to stay in Germany at the moment. But if there's any sniff that he wants to come to the Premier League, they want to be there and they want to be in for him. They're willing to pay big money to get him in. They're willing to match the wages, all these aspects of it. But it all just kind of comes down to the player's decision. And I know there's kind of a rumour mill is just in overdrive about it, and this, that, and the other, and everyone's having to say. But I do think in these situations, a lot of the time, that you just can't kind of get in the player's head, can you, and know what he's thinking. But the only thing we can be certain of is that if there's a Premier League move that he favours in the end, then Liverpool are going to be in the mix for him, which is incredibly exciting. And it looks like if he does choose the Premier League, it will be Liverpool as well, because City, by all accounts, have pulled out the race as well. So that leaves it a little bit more open. But of course, the big worry is Bayern and whether he decides to go there. And, I'm not sure how they're doing kind of money-wise and whether they're okay to go for the big package. I did see rumours, which I can't stand up myself, that they would be cheaper for a club outside the Bundesliga as well. So that's interesting. And I don't think Leverkusen have sold many players to Bayern in recent years as well. So again, they clearly don't want him to go there, I would think. So, hopefully that can work in Liverpool's favour. But as I say, we don't know what's in the player's head, and he will, essentially it's going to be down to him, isn't it? He's going to be able to force a move to Bayern if he does want it, whether Bayer Leverkusen want it or not. So, let's see what happens, and let's hope he chooses Liverpool.
Fingers crossed. It also feels like we won't have to wait too long to find out potentially. So we'll see what that brings. And then the final one I wanted to ask you, a name that everyone wanted to come in the mix has now started to come in the mix in the form of Crystal Palace's Adam Wart. And Liverpool, apparently, as it says they're monitoring the situation, famous words. Heard anything on this one at all?
No, personally not. Outside of kind of, I've known that they've liked Wharton for a long time. I feel like you've willed this into existence, by the way, that this is a possibility, because I know you are so big on Adam Wharton. I mean, I am myself. I think he's an absolutely fabulous player, which is why I can't understand that 60 million fee that's being touted at the moment. I would have thought it would have honestly been, almost 100 million for him. He's that good of a player. He's homegrown as well. He's got a long time left on his Palace contract. So kind of surprised that he would be available for that amount. But by all accounts, that is the case. And it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool were in the mix at that price, because it's much more reasonable than would have been expected. Yeah. And they loved him at Blackburn, but just didn't kind of make that leap to sign him. They thought he probably could have done with a move to a Crystal Palace or something like that. But obviously he's gone there and gone from strength to strength, and there's no doubt in his quality now. And I don't doubt for a second, if he's on the market at that amount, that Liverpool will at the very least be considering it. It's just about kind of decisions to make for them in terms of what the midfield looks like going forward, and how you fit all these options in together and give everyone sufficient game time. But he's a fantastic player, and one I would absolutely love to see Liverpool sign.
Yeah, it would be an unbelievable signing. So if the universe is listening, you know what to do.